If you haven't guessed by now, I'm in a care facility, and I'm recalling events that go back to 2016 through 2018. That's when Al got on the plane, the jet for LA. Um, at Ritica asked me to start recalling events from what I remembered from the steam room. And steam room's an interesting place because you're sitting behind a cloud and you have these disembodied voices, but from day to day, and you meet interesting people. One of the guys was really Jack Daniels. He was a Navy SEAL who was special deep diver that went down to dismantle munitions from sunken warships, and he had a lot of stories to tell. He had friends that he had an annual reunion around New Year's Eve, and he would invite,
A lot of these stores they used to piled up on.
have $1,000 to $2,000 worth of seafood for this reunion event. And then one time he got his buddies together, and those that could afford it, they all flew out to some Pacific site and did another dive to sort of recall old times. And he came back quite changed from that. Very humble, because in the dive, of course, he uses a line so that when you go down into these ships and go down into the bowels of the ships, you can find your way back out. Well, his line got snagged, broke, and he found himself lost. Time running out, air running out, and he did he did come back to tell about it, but he was quite changed. Another interesting personality was Ruth. She was a quiet old lady, possibly starting or at least into her mid 70s, and she was still wearing the same locker room, the rubber thongs or slippers uh, from her youth, and they were actually silicone. I mean, they were rubber, and that's why they held up so well. They were native latex rubber when it was available back, 60 years ago. Uh, Another interesting personality was Rita. She Rita was a guy. Came into the men's locker room. You could plump. She changed into a women's bathing suit with a skirt around it, and you could call her as pleasingly plump, dressed up as a lady.
Yeah.
And she was in her 40s. She had grown up in Levittown, and then joined the Marines to see, like, who am I? What's my identity? But that didn't go well. Somewhat the same as that character in Full Metal Jacket that couldn't stop eating the donuts and had a terrible end to his basic training. Took out his sergeant. And the other, she would always this gorgeous young lady, middle 20s. She wore a bikini. It wasn't a teeny weeny polka dot bikini, but it was hardly adequate. And none of the other women liked her because, but she was very spiritually inclined, and she had a lot of like energies or something. And she was talked about the light bulbs in her house. She would go through a 4-pack or 6-pack of light bulbs in a week, and she couldn't change them herself and had to have an electrician come over and put in new light bulbs. And finding out I was an electrical engineer, she invited me over to her house to see if I could find any anomalies that would be causing such a phenomena. she had a cute little boy, Jackson, about 5 years old. I gave the boy a stuffed dog, which he really cherished. And no, I didn't find any anomalies at her house other than she lived close to a graveyard. So she was seeing, ab, you know, spheres and other kinds of phenomena that she could see, but no one else. So, and I guess the other point that I wanted to bring up with Adrika, that when Al and I were alone in the steam room, he would tell me about occasions as a flight controller that anomalies would show up on the radar screen. Also known as UFOs. It happened on two occasions, several years apart, and he would call his buddies at other airports and see if they were picking up the same behavior on their radar screens, and they all confirmed that. But Al would get a call the next day to at that time they had VHS tapes that recorded all the activity on the radar screens. So he'd get a call, lose that tape. It didn't happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll stop it there and pick it up a little bit later, and share with you what I recall of what Adrika said about Al's recovery in L.A. All right, thanks. Bye bye.